Hi, Joycelyn. So happy to have you
Hi,
join
Chinenye.
me.
I'm
So
so
how are
happy to
you?
be here too.
How are you feeling today? How are you feeling
I'm
about this
feeling
interview?
good. I'm so excited to be here.
Oh, that's good. That's good. I'm glad to hear that. So you guys, I've been following Jocelyn for a while on LinkedIn, but I don't know why I didn't like connect or reach out. So I think one day something just came to mind, like why not invite Joycelyn to like interview with me and just share her journey. But then I couldn't find her profile again, so I told her, you know what, if I come across your profile again, I'm going to reach out to you and just see it as a sign. And so that was what happened. And then I reached out, and surprisingly, she was like, yeah, let's do it. Thank you so much for joining me and just sharing your journey. In this conversation today, Joycelyn is going to be really talking about how she's building a career and self development community for young professionals and young people. After school, you're like, what's next? What am I going to do? And so I believe that this community, it's so timely, it's so intentional, and it's actually very important in our journey. Let me nicely introduce herself and then we'll get on with the discussion. So hi, Jocelyn. Who is Joycelyn? what do you know about you? What do you like to eat? Just feel free to
Okay,
say it.
okay. So my full name is Joycelyn Ikia Otre. I'm very young. I'm a Ghanaian, and I've lived in Ghana my whole life. Right. I read business in senior high school, and then I moved on to uni, and then I read business administration again. But in level 300, I majored in accounting. I graduated with an accounting degree, first class actually. I graduated
Wow.
with an accounting degree, and then after school, while I was waiting for in Ghana as for my national service, I felt I should probably take a boot camp or something to while away time. And so I took a 2 month boot camp in data analytics, and that was how it all started, right? I took a 2 month boot camp, and after that, I thought I should go into data analytics more. And even as time went by, I realized that my strengths were in business intelligence, Power BI, data modeling, and all of that. And so I leveraged on that. I've spent time teaching women across about 6 to 8 countries: UK, Zimbabwe, Nigeria, Ghana, Finland, teaching foundational
Yeah.
concepts of data analytics. And then I recently co-founded, not so recently, but then recently co-founded an AI startup called Kizara AI, which helps business owners, specifically e-commerce business owners, to build their website through WhatsApp in within 5 minutes. Because in Ghana, we realized that most of the merchants close their deals on WhatsApp, but there was still one problem. While the merchant is sleeping, they cannot, continue their business. A customer asks for what product is available and now has to wait for the business owner to come and reply later on. We noticed some gaps in the order fulfillment system or process. So we decided to use AI to help e-commerce business owners manage that efficiently and run their businesses like multi-million dollar enterprises. So that's about
Wow.
Kizara AI. And then I recently co-founded Purpose
Okay.
Circles, a community that's going to help young professionals with accountability, mentorship, networking, and many others. Because during my transition journey, there are things I noticed while pivoting into a different industry. And on LinkedIn, while I shared my journey, people kept coming to me with questions and, you know, they wanted me to mentor them and all of that. So I noticed, and whenever they did, there were certain uh, issues that were standing out amongst every single person that came to me to be mentored. They would say, "Oh, I've taken a boot camp. I've learned on YouTube. I've practiced the skill, but they don't know how exactly to land a role." So there was just this gap, right? So I felt okay. Since I cannot treat everybody individually because there were many. Why not just make it a community so I can expend the same effort in reaching everybody and helping everybody with the knowledge I know? And that was how Pepper Circles was birthed. We recently launched it on the 4th of October and it was a huge success. So that's a
Oh,
bit about me. And
yeah.
I like shawarma.
That's cool. Congratulations again on Purple Circle. Just watching you talk about it, I can actually see the passion and the intentionality about it. I also love that, you're not just building like something, it was actually from a need that you saw, and you said, okay, so how do I solve this? How do I solve this for people? And it's really, really beautiful. Before we continue, by the way, I just want to say, like, I love your accent. It's so beautiful. Yeah, it's
Thank you, Chinenye.
awesome. I have some questions came in as you were talking. You mentioned a boot camp that you went into. What was the name of the boot camp? And you can touch a bit about how that experience was for you. And then that would lead me into my next question about how that connects with building Purple Circle, or if it was another, motivation that led to that.
I took the boot camp at Ghana Tech Lab. Ghana Tech Lab. So it was a data science boot camp. They are no more in existence. Pretty sad.
Oh,
But that was Ghana Tech Lab, right? So I took a 2 month. It was based on Excel, Power Query, a little bit of SQL, and then Power BI. The honest truth is, during that boot camp, I was not paying attention. I was not really paying attention like most of the time because it was a 3 hour lesson like every single day, Monday to Friday, 3 hours every day.
wow.
I did follow, but getting towards the end of the boot camp, I sort of, lost focus. So I was focused on my national service, but I still picked a lot from that boot camp. I personally think people have different ways of studying, right? For the hard skill part, I personally think that I do better with self study, like
Okay.
just me studying. But I've noticed that a lot of people, for the hard skill part, they prefer community trainings and all of that because I realized that during my cohort trainings, when I was training the women, a lot of them were more motivated when we did the online sessions in the groups and all of that. But I personally enjoyed just studying by myself. So for the hard skill part, I think self study was great and I was following the boot camp all right, but I had to like take some time off personally by myself to like grasp it for myself. And that was why majority of my journey was mainly self-study. But I realized that linking it to purpose circles, I think purpose circles is not really trying to hit on hard skills per se. It's more of soft skills, right? So teaching things like personal branding, even how to show up online as a young professional. And the thing about purpose circles is although it's a huge community, it's going to be broken down into different circles. So there's the data circle, there's a tech circle, there's a creative circle, female entrepreneurs, and then I think those in the corporate space, 9 to 5. So we group people with similar interests.
Yeah.
So they are easily motivated because I noticed that I may not want it like that, but that was what people wanted. I realized that people like community coming together. They are more likely to do something if they find themselves within a group of people doing that thing. So
True.
that was why for the purpose circles, we went for a community. And because of the nature of the kind of assistance we are going to offer, it's not really hard skills, it's soft skills. So for like things like personal branding, a lot of people don't know how to show up online. They
True.
don't know that visibility is the new currency. You see,
Yeah.
a lot of professionals don't know that. There are things like building a portfolio. A lot of people don't know how to build a portfolio.
True.
There even a well accepted CV, a lot of people don't know how to draft that. A lot of people don't know about networking. So there are so many things that people have to learn. And I realized that it's easier when they do that with people that are pursuing the same path that they are pursuing. And one of the goals too was to do that in person and not online, because I realized that I personally have a group of friends I do that with, like I have accountability with, and realize that having conversations, meeting in person, that one goes far and helps more than being online and just being behind the screen. That one is boring. And so yeah, so the boot camps community nature didn't necessarily infer people circles, but I learned a lot from them, and based on what I observed, that was how we came about the community nature for purpose circles.
So great. I loved what you said about soft skills because thinking back now, there was this time that I took a data course on data camp, just like you were saying how you did this boot camp. But then how do you now translate that to getting a job? And I can remember there was a mentor of mine that reviewed my CV, and he was, you're doing a lot of great things, but you're not communicating it in a strong way that shows that you're a strong candidate. And then he had to tweak something, change this, change that, add this, do that, use this template. And after that change, the next job I applied for, I was invited to an interview. So I really resonate with what you said because it's one thing to learn, and then it's one thing to learn the soft skill to I also love how you're building an offline space. I would say personally, and just conversation with friends, some people are just becoming fatigued with just being online and everything. So you organizing this physical community is very important right now. If there's someone that wants to be a part of this community, how can they join? What are the expectations? Can you share a bit about that for us?
Okay, so for now, applications are closed, but we have LinkedIn Purpose Circles. That's where updates are going to be sent, and then my LinkedIn as well. You can reach me directly, but they are not going to be closed forever. It's just for now because we want to be able to manage the numbers and have like a solid system and structure for the influx. You see, we are not just trying to do any random thing. We want to do it and do it well. So we want to be able to manage the numbers, and that's why right now we have about 80 to 100 people. We really want to be able to manage and give everybody what exactly they signed up for. That's why applications are closed for now, but they are definitely going to be opened. And then there's also going to be one for the online community, like those who are not really in Ghana soon. Six is just in the corner. So checking Purpose Circles on LinkedIn, Purpose underscore Circles on Instagram, Joyce on LinkedIn. Once we are ready to take in more people, we are definitely going to put it out on our socials. And like I mentioned, expect meetups, like informal meetups, get acquainted, where we'll come, we'll discuss. There's one coming up actually. We'll discuss our goals, our plans for the year. We'll discuss how to even set goals that are achievable, what you can do to achieve your goals, having a regimen, so many things. And we are going to be doing this in person where people would share their ideas, thoughts, and opinions. So we are going to be having that. We would have like formal expert led sessions where we would have resource persons come and share their knowledge from different industries. Yes. And then we also have like a buddy system where you're going to have people who are going to be holding you accountable for the goals that you set, so that you actually go through with them and they don't just remain in your journals, and many others. It's going to be a pretty amazing community, and I'm excited for that.
I'm
Yeah.
excited. I'm excited too. I mean, how do I sign up? I can't wait for the
You
next
should come to
application
Ghana. You should come to Ghana.
cycle. Right, of course. Another thing I wanted to ask is now that the community is set up with all this value you're giving, like, is this a free community? Is this a paid community? How do people set expectations financially in order to join?
Right. So for now, during the launch, we opened the sign ups for free during the launch. But
Okay.
in the possible future, there will be like a membership fee to join the
Okay.
community. Yes, a
Mm-hmm.
membership fee. But
All right.
aside that,
Gotcha.
there are not going to be any financial expectation. And unless whenever we are having events, you really want to donate or help or support with them. But
Yeah.
just going to be like a membership fee.
Okay. That's awesome. Thank you. So, there's maybe anyone watching this. What's the one advice you would give them in terms of developing that soft skill or transitioning from a learner to somebody who is getting the bag, as we say?
Okay, right. So a transitional or someone getting some skills. Hmm. We are in a different era from the era like from 5 years ago. And like I said earlier, this staying visible is very important. Visibility is the new currency. And not just being visible, but being authentic as well. Something should back your visibility while you're online. You should not just focus so much on being online such that you lose the skill aspect. So there should be a balance, right? I think one of the things that helped me indirectly, okay, aside visibility, is browsing through LinkedIn. LinkedIn is pretty helpful. A lot of people on Twitter bash LinkedIn a lot, but I think it's pretty helpful if your algorithm is telling you the right thing, because I learn from people every time indirectly. I sign up for newsletters, I read these newsletters, and that was how I knew so much about what to do when I was pivoting or trying to like land a role, like transitioning from being a learner to actually being paid for my skill. There's so much I learned from newsletters because I would follow experts in my field. They all have newsletters. I'll subscribe. I'll read some of the tips that they are sharing. Some of the tips that they are sharing, because they have a wealth of experience. Like they've been doing this for years. So I don't have to go through the wrong route too. I can just learn from precepts. And so they will say, okay, as a data analyst, you should focus actually in tech. A portfolio weighs more than a CV, because people want to see what you can do. How did I know this? From experts. So they'll tell you, focus on building a portfolio. They'll show you how to build a portfolio, how to even communicate your projects, how to communicate with stakeholders. These were all things I learned from browsing on LinkedIn, subscribing to newsletters, and all of that. So that is one advice I'd give if someone probably still in uni or in a transition process. LinkedIn is not just for coming to like read people's updates and life updates and all of that. There are so many things you can learn from there, and even YouTube as well. You can learn from YouTube. You know, you would read certain things. It's not just the hard skill. Like I said, the hard skill is just one portion of it. Join
Yeah.
training sessions. These sessions are held online. Mentorship sessions by organizations and communities. How to build a personal brand, how to do this and do that. They are all on social media. So use social media to your advantage. Basically, that's what I would
Yeah.
say. And specifically LinkedIn. There are other social media that do that, but LinkedIn is really the right place to do that because it will teach you everything. I mean, you meet these experts that are in the field where you are trying to transition to, and you can easily even reach out to them and hear from them. So that's what I was.
Thank you
You're
so much. These are all
welcome.
really valuable insights. And yes, please stop sleeping on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is so underrated. A lot of people that you might not have access to on other platforms, you'll be surprised how
That's
you
true.
get a response from them on LinkedIn.
My first internship, even at the time, I was not visible. Reached out to the HR on LinkedIn, and that was it. I didn't even have to be interviewed. I got the internship. So LinkedIn is
Wow.
very underrated. Like those CEOs that look so far fetched are literally at your fingertips on LinkedIn. So I highly recommend LinkedIn.